Catch Vaibhav at the first edition of the Animators Guild India Fest 2022 on the 26th and 27th of November at Pioneer Hall, Bandra West, Mumbai. Tickets available on Book My Show, presented by Solitaire.
Hi everyone, today I'm with Vaibhav Kumaresh, the genius, biggest leaders in the industry and the man who's behind some of the most iconic animations and animation series and films that have been created from India. He is responsible, as you know, for the amazing Simpu series, which has been our hallmark growing up. He's also right now involved with Lamput, which is an Emmy-nominated series, and he's also working on his feature film, which we've had the pleasure of seeing parts of previously, and hopefully we'll see it soon on the large big screens as well. Thank you so much, Vaibhav. Welcome.
Thank you, team AGI. happy to chat up anytime.
So, Vaibhav, I'm going to start with the first question. What is the beginning story? What is the origin story of Vaibhav, and how did animation come across?
That storytelling kida was there from childhood. So role play, reading comics, narrating orally, listening stories from elders, or reading books, comics, like stories, movies, Bollywood. मतलब ये सब like अमर चित्र का था in my case, comics, Asterix, Tintin, मतलब सब I think we all consumed all of that. So that was the exciting thing for me, and I used to pour out my own comics, my own stories in the form of doodles, comics. So I guess that bug to tell a story in a very excited way and see that you can spread that excitement to the audience, that is probably responsible for everything else. So animation, that like a natural thing. Now if I think back, I feel it's like a natural thing, because whether it's performing art or visual art or the filmmaking grammar or everything leads itself so beautifully to storytelling. तो अगर मैं गाना गाता था या एक्टिंग करता था या ड्राइंग करता था या जो भी हो, कोरियोग्राफी में इंटरेस्ट है या किसी भी एस्पेक्ट में, अगर आप मीनिंग कारपेंट्री का भी काम आप कर रहे हो, like everything that art component in each thing, and then finally being able to manage it all also, कि एक विजन है, उसको साकार करना है, तो फिर कौन कौन लोग आएंगे, और fellow mad people teaming up and making a story come alive, basically, at the end of the day. So I think all that fell together very well, and animation, I feel, is the perfect vehicle, for all these departments to coexist.
So, how did your parents react? I mean, like, were they also very supportive from the very beginning?
In fact, they were very, very supportive. Although dono opposite direction hai. One is an army officer, dad is an army officer, mother is a maths and science teacher. So dad is fully into sports. तो मतलब रिपोर्ट कार्ड सब आता था मेरा. इनफैक्ट मेरी स्कूल में पढ़ाती हुई थी, तो आई यूज्ड टू बी एम्बैरेस्ड कि मम्मी आ रही है, तो टीचर भी है, मम्मी भी है. सो बट घर पे वो बहुत पीसफुल था, इवन दो शी इज दैट एकेडमिक थिंग. मेरा रिपोर्ट कार्ड में अगर मैथ्स में 5 मार्क कम होंगे, तो मतलब 100 में 95 मिला, तो भी मॉम वुड से 5 मार्क कहाँ गए, डैड वुड से पास हो गया, वेरी गुड. तो बहुत मस्त एक वैरायटी था. सो dad has been into sports. He's like one full rock star sports person. Mom is at academy side. So all competitions, like English declamation, debate, skit, mono acting, ये वो जो भी है सब में मेरा नाम डाल देंगी वो. Like वो स्कूल में है ना, वो तो मेरी तरफ से नाम उन्होंने enter कर दिया होगा, and I would have to prepare and go on stage. My dad figured out कि there is this course, which is called Fine Arts, BFA, Bachelor of Fine Arts. I didn't even know about the course. So some colleagues told him, and he even applied on my behalf. मेरा साइन भी फोर्ज करके भेज दिया, मुझे सिर्फ इंटरव्यू के लिए जाना था. तो सपोर्ट तो दूर की बात है, उससे भी ज्यादा उन्होंने ऑलरेडी करके रखा था कि यार ये बंदा ऐसा सब करता है, अप्लाई करके रख दिया है. When I got through, then मेरे को ही पूछा, यार what do you want to do? You want to do 11th, 12th, or you want to join here? Obviously, I want to join there. So they had no, मतलब I don't know, कुछ उनके मन में रहा होगा टेंशन, but they never showed that. So they've been very supportive. And like I said, BFA के 5 साल के end में I got to know कि NID है. NID में मिल भी गया. Again they said good, वो करो. तो the answer to that is like big yes, big support.
How did you come up with Simpu? I know you've been asked this question 1,000 times before, but it is something that we need to know because our childhood is just going like, हाथ ऊपर खड़े हो जाओ.
Okay, like at Famous, when I was with Suresh and I, we were in that animation department which Famous Studio has had started, and we'd done some project which was, we can't be very proud of it, but and it also it led to the studio almost shutting down. But that important, again, that jobless zone में is where we decided कि यार अभी काम हमको खुद लाना है. So the Simpu was always in my head, it's part of my life. मेरे गुरु थे, maths teacher थे, so उससे inspired है. And during my 10th grade, I would make doodles of that. So there was an entire library of stories, fake stories in my head already. So now when we had to get work, we approached our seniors. So Arnab was creative head at Channel V. So we went to him, क्या हमको काम चाहिए, हम लोग Channel V के लिए idents बनाएंगे, कुछ होगा ऐसे सब, end में V बनेगा. And so he said, "Alright, lovely, you guys, we commissioned a series of 8 idents." So one of those ideas was a Simpu film. So मेरी जो कहानियाँ थी वो मैं फिल्म में डाल रहा था. So I'm obviously very excited doing that one story. So it is that हाथ ऊपर के खड़े हो जाओ was that very first film. So that one film stood out. It did very well, and like word of mouth say, it feels very good when people around you are talking about your own film. And this is 99. So I think 99, 2000 is when the first Simpu film went on air. And so then at Famous Studios, in the cafeteria and all, you can hear people speaking about that content which has now been released. So suddenly you feel, "Arey, log dekh rahe hain aur acha laga," and things like that. So then Arnab asked me, "Can you do more of it?" So then it was like, so that is the start of Simpu. कि यार अपने ही, like हम लोग तो फेंक रहे हैं, मतलब I don't know how the real teacher was also. So we are just cooking up stories based on the one fictitious thought that we had, and thankfully then the studio को भी काम मिला and we didn't shut down. So lots of good things also happened. So it started, वो joblessness का जो एक desperation है ना, उसमें से
निकल के आया. What about Amron? How did Amron come about?
Tapandu Havaldar on duty very खबरदार. But Mangal Singh very होशियार, broke jail हुआ फरार. So long. Finally Mangal got a court. तो भाई लोग, Amron की पक्की guaranteeing, 48 month warranting.
So Amron, according to me, again, at NID we were exposed to so many different mediums. It's a beautiful thing that they expose you to everything, and then it's up to you to take it where you want. So stop motion, obviously we had done at NID. So when I was at Famous, again during this joblessness thing, we also used to interact with MTV. So MTV channel, the creative director, another mad, amazing genius, Cyrus Oshidar.
Oshidar, yeah.
So he had conceived this series called Poga, which is a mix of pogo stick and yoga. One bizarre thing, he has scripted also those lines, and he's the voice of that.
Heal your life with Poga. Many ways to find universal peace. Best of all, do Poga with the head between the knees. If you lose mind, look in the behind. If you cannot see, look through the knee. Pull your kidney out, put it in the mouth. Take a Poga breath and suck it all about. For universal bliss, daily 4 times you do this. Next week, advanced Poga.
Once again, this Arnab, when he had commissioned these 8 idents, one of them was a puppet animation which I had pitched, which is a Kathakali one. Okay, Kathakali ऐसा करता है, फूल बनाता है, and flower becomes a V. So that was puppet, one thermocol ring puppet, and overnight we'd shot वो चंडा का म्यूजिक सब आ रहा है और उस पे कथकली ऐसा कर रहा है. So that puppet animation thing, and then I think Cyrus must have seen that, and then when he said Poga, it was like only clay. ऐसा morpho रही हो रहा है सब. So again that was a very big hit, and then he scripted 2 more. Like one was Poga for politicians, ऐसे था, then Poga for Feng Shui wala, Pong Shui ऐसे. So there was a series of them. Now O&M saw that कि clay animation हो रहा है, and they created this fables. Like Amaron was a series of fables, like tortoise and the hare. Then there was Kumbhakaran. Then later on we did Mangal Singh and Pandu Havaldar, and so the series continued. But again, that start of it was when they had seen our work in clay animation. The Khwahish, I think, also was one of their Kida also was कि अरे नया medium है, let's showcase that in a commercial. Maybe we'd not seen clay animation till then in a proper television commercial. So that's how I think O&M, that's what they had shared with us कि काम देख के, like one thing led to the other
and built on it. Yeah, there are downtimes in our lives. How and I know you're a super energetic, always on the move kind of person, but how do you manage your energies? Like what do you do to manage this doubt that creeps?
One thing, Pratik, is that one is that excitement that you have for your work. Your work itself becomes an insulation. And it's a beautiful insulation. आपको लेना देना नहीं है, बाहर में risk है, doubt है, recession है, क्या है आपको मालूम ही नहीं पड़ता है. So that ignorance is bliss जो बोलते हैं ना, that's very true, at least in my case. तो मुझे पता भी नहीं है कि ये risk है, because I'm so excited कि मैं तो doubt आता ही नहीं है. Doubt कभी बहुत बार आया है, meaning people try to put doubts in your head. But internally, if there are no doubts, it depends, कि whether you अरे हाँ सच बोल रहा है तो फिर आप थोड़े टाइम के लिए down होते हैं.
से निकल जाते हैं.
But then again, that excitement of yours will very quickly remove that. Like I've had 30 minutes of downtime, but then 30 minutes में ठीक हो जाता है वो. हाँ, so that like the feature film we've been working on, for me it is like a different high. मेरे को अभी वो छोटा commercials और ये सब में जो मजा आता है, but इस feature film में जो मजा है, it is like वो मैनीटर ने अलग खून टेस्ट कर लिया ना. So it is that zone. So I'm really enjoying that, and I'm aware that with that there is a huge, equally heavy doubt and burden, because आपने इतने पैसे दिल खोल के डाल के एक फीचर प्रोड्यूस किया है. अभी कहाँ बिकेगी मुझे नहीं मालूम, कौन देखेगा, आई होपफुली ये देखेंगे. अभी बहुत सारे अननोन्स हैं उसमें. So they can become doubts also, and they can be most foolish things that I may have done. मतलब बहुत सारी किए हैं ये, this can be the biggest of them all. Foolish things. But अगर वो सोच के रहेंगे तो ये फिल्म कैसे बनेगी? So that doubt thing is always there.
But
छोटे से लेके doubt भी आपके साथ बड़ा होता जाता है.
So okay, so now the film, it's a larger game. Even with series, for example, right? Like with Lamput, you've now been sanctioned for another season as well, is what I heard right now. And of course, the Emmy nomination and the accolades, abhi Asian Creative Awards Agency awards bhi mile aapko. So it's a massive win on all sides, for the channel, for you, for the team. How do you keep it fresh? How does the freshness come out?
So, to a large extent, I don't do that all myself. I like, especially with Lamput, okay, I may have started it off, but it's Anand Babu's baby, and there are many more mad guys in the team. So at times, my role is also to just step back and make way for those guys to flow, like that doubt versus excitement. So everyone has that same component. So as long as we can clear the doubts and make way for that excitement. So in the case of Lamput, I am only doing that role. I'm hoping that all the people who are excited with it, they get a correct their work conditions or the timelines, so that they can do it their way correctly. So in the case of that excitement, you have to that contagious thing, no? So you need to have people who are even more excited than you are. So I am so inspired by their work, and when they work, I can take from that and I can do my work, because I cannot do what they can do, and vice versa. So, but we both should excite each other or inspire each other. So sustaining that energy ka solution for me is that, because
What is the current excitement that is occupying Vaibhav's brain?
see, my prime excitement, like I told you, वो आदमी का खून मैंने टेस्ट कर लिया है, अभी वो उसमें वही पीना है मेरे को. That my feature film, that is till it comes out. It's been a very very long journey. Okay, so that's not the ideal way to make a feature film, but we had no other choice. When we were excited with feature film, there was a time when feature films were turning out to be huge losses for their producers, at least in Indian big screen. So nobody wanted to even touch a Hindi animated feature film in terms of producing it or funding it. So the only situation in front of us was to produce it ourselves. और उसके तो पैसे थे नहीं, तो पैसे भी बनाने पड़े. So the team that we have, again, I'm extremely grateful to that team, because they have invested those 15, 16 years of their time. And they have also made money for the film, and then they are now blowing up that money in the film. So that is the biggest excitement for me, because that is the biggest unknown. Even now, we've never made a feature. This is our first feature. We are excited with it. That's why we want to get done with it. And we are very happy that our production is over finally. All the in-house work is done.
Okay.
Now the next phase is the post-production, which is all out-of-office expenses. So, sound design, music, background scoring, additional voice dubbing, color grading. So all those things. And then, even promo cutting. So a lot of such work is going parallel.
Now coming to the boring part wala question, as a producer, as a studio owner who started so early in 2003, when technically we didn't even have that many. You had the big studios, right? And then there were like smaller studios, so matlab ek do the max, and you were one of those early birds, so to speak, putting it out there. How has the journey been like? Because being a producer is a very tough job.
So the producer angle, I'm at least, मैं तो सोचता नहीं हूँ कि मैं प्रोड्यूसर हूँ, ऐसा करके काम करते नहीं. हम लोग सब आर्टिस्ट हैं. फिल्म बनाना है, बनने के लिए क्या चाहिए वो करेंगे, और मजा भी करना है. फाइनली मजा करना है. मजे करने के लिए दैट एम्बियंस हैज टू बी करेक्ट. उसके लिए कौन चाहिए. ये बंदा आएगा तो और मजेदार होगा, ठीक है, उसको पकड़ते हैं. इसका म्यूजिक आएगा तो मजा आएगा, इसकी आवाज आएगी तो अच्छा होगा, ये एनिमेट करेगा तो ज्यादा अच्छा होगा, चलो ये ट्राई करते हैं. सो इट्स ऑल लाइक विश लिस्ट. Okay, every stage you have something that excites you, and you're trying to get those ingredients together. So I think producer is trying to do that. And when you're director, producer, then I feel it happens more seamlessly. Sometimes when the scale of operations goes bonkers, like in the case of this film, then if we were to make another film, obviously I would need more clones of myself or more people who play the same role that I do. So yes, as the scale increases, there will be more like specialized roles कि आप ये संभालो, मैं ये संभालता हूँ, because दोनों के पास इतना ढेर सारा काम है. But otherwise, it is like you need to find ways to make it happen and make it happen well.
Now shifting to the family side of things, how do you manage family time?
हो जाता है, like I don't know, it's a very tricky question, but yes, with family we all, like the better half is into outdoor adventures work. मतलब my wife Suranjana, she's like into hardcore trekking, and so she takes us all for treks also at times. So पूरा खानदान treks पे जाता है. नहीं तो अभी like my son is into cricket, फुटबॉल, ये सब स्पोर्ट्स वाला जोन है, तो उसको लेके जाओ ड्रॉप करने के लिए. उसके लिए गियर जब आप लेके आ रहे हो तब बहुत कुछ हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, या घरों में बैठ के जब लाइक दैट घर का टाइम व्हेन देयर इज अ हॉलिडे, आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू ऑब्जर्व दीस गाइज. लाइक डॉटर्स कॉलेज, शी जस्ट फिनिश्ड 10th एंड नाउ द 11th 12th में इट्स लाइक लिटिल कॉलेज वाला फ्लेवर आ जाता है. सो शी विल कैच अ लोकल ट्रेन, गो टू हर कॉलेज टू स्टडी, कम बैक, तो फिर उसकी कहानियां सुनने में मजा आता है कि क्या हुआ आज. तो वैसा एक फैमिली टाइम कैच अप मजा आता है. लाइक माय मॉम विल आल्सो स्टेज विद अस, सो शी विल हैव सम स्टोरीज ऑफ हर हर young school times. So So all that thing happens on the side. सब्जी लाने हम लोग साथ में जाते हैं कभी-कभी मॉम इन लॉ के साथ, तो ऐसा सब अलग-अलग चीज होता है. वो भी see from animation point of view, all that for me it's all storytelling. मतलब अलग-अलग लोगों से मुलाकात हो रही है. You know, sons cricket coach, daughters friends, सब अलग-अलग. You are getting refreshed, no? Like when we go back to NID to teach also, it's like that new breed of students. You become students once again. So it's like go back home also, and with the children you are again. हम लोग तो ऐसे ही बच्चे ही हैं, सिर्फ क्या हाइट बढ़ गई बस, दिमाग वैसे ही अभी भी.
True, that's 100% true. A lot of the kids get confused in terms of कि पर शुरुआत करें कहाँ से? Where do we start from? And every person has their own take on it, and so I just wanted to know your opinion on this as well.
See, start point, the only anchor that you guys have, like for students, is your excitement towards your work. Core of it, it's the excitement only, because whole life you want to do something that you're excited with. You don't want to do some, you're not planning कि यार चलो ये बोरिंग काम में पूरा जीवन बिताते हैं, ऐसा नहीं करते हो ना आप लोग. आप क्यों उतना टाइम, मतलब वैल्यूएबल लाइफ को क्यों वहाँ वेस्ट करोगे? So to get clarity of that excitement is very important. And invariably when you're very young, those exciting things show up. Maybe we don't nurture it, or maybe we don't identify it. So again, education is or good teachers or mentors are people who help identify that excitement in you and nurture, or at least they encourage you to nurture it. So the first step is that, like, you figure out what is it that excites you. And from a job point of view or from a making money point of view, anything can be made into a profession today. आप बाल अच्छा काटते हो, you can be an amazing,
Stylist.
Stylist.
Yeah.
आप कबड्डी अच्छा खेलते हो, प्रो कबड्डी लीग है. आप गाने अच्छा गाते हो, मतलब जोक सुनाते हो. ऐसे घर में मेरे को पहले बोलते हैं जोकर है यार, ये जोकर सर्कस में जोकर बनेगा. ठीक है, मैं कमाऊंगा ना, उसमें भी मैं धंधा कर सकता हूँ मैं.
You also take workshops. You used to take at least, and are you still actively taking workshops?
I'm part of the Animation Society of India.
Correct.
So,
TASI, yes.
Through TASI, we do a lot of such events. Workshops or sessions or festivals or inviting artists and those meetups and sharing kind of sessions. So yeah, that pandemic time, it was all digital, but abhi all the physical action has restarted. So yes, those workshop plans they've begun. Like all the visiting faculty assignments also little I'm taking, and I'm also not committing much because abhi feature film ka last lap hai, that final sprint. So I want to reserve myself for that. So yes.
But you've always been a very active member of TASI, and being a TASI member myself as well. And of course, you guys are the ones who introduced it to us technically, right? I mean, that's how it all became. How has the journey been with TASI as well? Like, I know it's going great guns, and every year it's increasing and building on. But what is your future vision for it? Like, how do you see it in the larger picture?
See, again, at the core of it, it is sharing. What you know, and that excitement that everybody else can come together and share. Mm-hmm. And with TASI, it's been more of what is the kind of stuff that we should encourage more. Okay, industry mein ye chalta hai. Industry is not the final destination. Mm-hmm. Where do we need this industry to go? Those things also we try and plug into TASI to because fortunately there are so many organizations today in India also that are into that community building or sharing of knowledge. So I think the kind of flavor that TASI has got is it's more grassroots level, and it is more indigenous. So although we would feature all kinds of projects, but in future, I would also want like the society to focus more on the indigenous content and encourage them as the first priority.
So 5 favorite Indian directors besides yourself. I mean,
मतलब live action भी हो सकता है?
कोई भी 5 top 5.
एक तो first animation में I really like Gitanjali's Printed Rainbow.
Okay.
You know, that short film which he created was very, very emotional. मतलब वो बहुत beautiful लगा था. That experience when I saw it first, it was very, very strong in my head. So that one definitely. And then अच्छा, Indian directors.
हाँ.
And then Suresh ki some of those films where he uses music. Again, like music in some of his films, no? बहुत मस्त लगता है मेरे को. Then Upamanyu and team, they are doing something very, very inspiring. तो उनको मतलब वो उनका काम देखने का, उनको पुश भी करने का. अपना इन हाउस सबसे पहले तो आनंद बाबू सबसे बड़ा पागल आदमी तो वो है. मतलब आप घर की मुर्गी को पहले देखते नहीं हो ना, वैसा फील हो गया है. तो सबसे बड़ा मस्त बंदा तो वो है. Then मैं मतलब इंडियन ही सोचता हूँ, ऐसा फिरंग लोगों का नाम अभी नहीं बोलता हूँ, वो तो वैसे तो बहुत वास्ट हो जाएगा. तो अपने इसमें फिल्म बनाने वाले ही इतने कम लोग हैं. You know, so अभी yesterday I was seeing Delvin's work. You know, he's a teacher also. You know, he's conducts such amazing workshops, and both genuinely, sincerely, like even at his institute, like IIT, I've interacted with him also.
He's a very honest
so
guy.
Very honest guy. Very honest guy.
Yeah.
तो और भी है. Sorry if I have missed out. अभी जैसे आप rapid fire है तो जैसे दिमाग में आ रहा है मैं बोल रहा हूँ.
हाँ. Okay, and the next one is top 5 animation writers in India besides yourself, obviously.
So I feel it'll have to be the same people only, because I don't think anyone else. Okay, PJ, Prashanjit Ganguly, you know, he writes also amazingly. मतलब he also specializes in doing just that. So some of the stuff he's written is like, even for our film, we've collaborated with PJ on certain components. So the way he thinks and he builds stories. Other than that, I think all these filmmakers, they are also writers. मतलब I feel every animation filmmaker, even like अगर अभी हम लोग उस इंडियन दायरे के बाहर भी अगर निकलें, like for example, whether it's Miyazaki also, Hayao Miyazaki, his writing is half visual. He may not write in script. No, so I think that is the case with all of us, even though film script writing is supposed to be text and all, but we all, like I've seen Anand, मेरा भी आधा टाइम ऐसा होता है कि आधा पहले ड्राइंग आ जाता है, बाद में चाहिए तो उसके बारे में मैं लिख दूंगा. But many things are visual for us. So many moments we capture visually and then we capture it in text. So I feel all of these people, like I know Gitanjali, when she used to write her scripts, she would find it difficult to conform to a particular way of writing a script, because she's thinking audio, she's thinking visuals, and so she would obviously structure her text very differently. So her script read and all, she would tell us that. So I'm sure all the animation filmmakers will have a similar challenge, because we are seeing visual and then we have to have that skill to translate it into the right text, you know, to capture the essence. So I think all these people.
Okay,
must
I'm
be
gonna
doing
throw, since this question was there, last question. I know I'm taking too much of your time now. Sound designers, 5 sound designers, Indian.
Sound design, like I mentioned, Suresh, that music component. Sometimes and Gitanjali, both. These two people use that their like in Printed Rainbow, the sound design and music was so touching for me. And the whole film is obviously conceived that way. Then there's, okay, अपना रोटो है.
I knew रोटो तो आने ही वाला था.
मतलब again that घर की मुर्गी वाला जो zone है, वो लोग है, you know, they have their own way of bringing stories alive. ये लोग हैं. I think even Narayan Parshuram,
Okay.
you know, who was the co-founder of Karadi Tales. You know, the way he composes music and then mixes the entire sound, like his music plays a very large component in his sound design also. So
Okay,
Tapas Relia,
okay.
like he'd done Chulbuli, he'd done the Amaron Battery
Okay.
series. So again, I think whoever helps the sound design process, no, whether it was whoever helps the storytelling process. तो वो storytelling का pulse समझ के simple stuff that is required for that. So again, Tapas also because music side again, he's also a music composer. So he packages, like he tells his stories through sound and music.
Thank you so much, Vaibhav, for your time. Thank you. I hope
you, Pradeep.
you have a great day, and we're so looking forward to the amazing content that you make. Content is the wrong word for it. The amazing films that you make and the amazing stories that you bring forth to us who have grown up with them and who enjoy them for every moment of joy that they bring to our lives. And thank you so much for this.
Catch Vaibhav at the first edition of the Animators Guild India Fest 2022 on the 26th and 27th of November at Pioneer Hall, Bandra West, Mumbai. Tickets available on Book My Show, presented by Solitaire.